You know, every era in football has that one player who seems untouchable. Not because of flash or hype, but because of what they mean, I suppose. The kind of player who doesn't just play in the system, they are the system. And for Manchester City, that player has been Rodri over the last few seasons. When you think about City's dominance over the last few years, the Premier League titles, the Champions League runs, the feeling that they could just walk into any stadium in Europe and take control, it all came down to one thing, and that being control. And control in Pep Guardiola's world means Rodri. He's not the loudest, he's not the flashiest, but he's the heartbeat, the conductor if you will, the one who makes everyone else look better. So now that we're watching them struggle with injuries, fatigue and uncertainty, you can feel that fear creeping in. People are whispering, is this the fall off of Rodri? And honestly, that sentence does not even sound right, because this cannot be the fall of Rodri. It just can't. Right, now let's rewind a couple of years. When Rodri joined Manchester City from Atletico Madrid in 2019, he wasn't an instant superstar. Some fans even doubted him. He looked a bit slow, a bit too safe on the ball if you get what I mean. He didn't have Fernandinho's bite or flair either. But Pep saw something nobody else did. A mind perfectly built for the way he wanted to play football. That first season was all about adaptation. He took hits, he got bullied by faster midfielders, but over time, he learned and he adjusted. And once he did that, he became untouchable. And by 2022, he wasn't just a cog in the machine. He was the machine every play flowed through. Every counter-attack was stopped by him. And he did it with the calm, almost robotic precision. While others were panicking, Rodri was 2 passes ahead. Like, one of my favourite moments in life was the Champions League final. And you look at that Champions League final against Inter, one of the biggest nights in City's history. And who scored the winning goal? Rodri. That moment summed him up perfectly. Cool, composed, and always in the right place. From that point on, he wasn't just the best defensive midfielder in the Premier League, he was the best in the world. He became Pep's security blanket, the guy you never take off, the guy who holds the entire structure in the Manchester City first team together. You could almost say Rodri became too important, because once City learned to have to rely on him, I suppose, there was no plan B. And then came September 2024, Arsenal away, just another Premier League fixture, until it wasn't. I know exactly where I was. I was on holidays in Salou watching it in a pub with a bunch of Arsenal supporters. Rodri went in for a challenge and landed awkwardly, and suddenly he was on the ground, clutching his knee. We all knew immediately what was happening. This wasn't one of them minor knocks. This was bad. And later, the news broke. ACL and meniscus damage. Season over. For most players, that's 9 to 12 months gone, like minimum, and you could feel the shift instantly. City looked lost without him. The midfield went from fortress to freeway. Teams that used to fear playing through the middle suddenly found space elsewhere. Pep tried everything, Kovacic, Nunez, even pushing Stones higher up. Nothing really worked, if I'm being honest, because how do you replace someone who does literally everything? Rodri wasn't just breaking up play, he was starting every attack, dictating tempo, shielding the defence, reading the game like it was a cheat code. And without him, City looked human again, vulnerable. And it wasn't just about losing games, it was about, losing identity. But Rodri, the man's built different. By early 2025, videos started resurfacing. Rodri running again, ball work, light drills. You could almost feel the optimism creeping back in. And he spoke about his recovery with this quiet determination. He wasn't rushing it, wasn't making excuses. He said he used the downtime to study the game, to work on his mind, to come back even stronger. And Pep, of course, played it down. We have to be patient, he said. He's too important to risk. And for once, he was right to be cautious. ACL injuries are brutal. They don't just take your leg. They take your rhythm, your timing, your confidence, and sometimes your career. And for a player like Rodri's, whose entire game is based on positioning and awareness, even a tiny delay can make a massive difference. Still, the plan was simple. Ease him back in at the start of the 25-26 season, gradual minutes, low risk games, build him back up. It's the reasonable thing to do. Everything was going fine. Until it wasn't. And that's up to more recent times. October 2025, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I don't know when this video is coming out, but Man City played Brentford. 22 minutes in, Rodri just stopped. There was no contact, no big tackle, he just stopped. He grabbed his tie, walked off, and in that moment, every City fan in the world felt the same punch to the gut. After all that rehab, all that patience, here we were again. This time, it was a muscular issue, likely a hamstring or a tendon related. Not as severe as the knee, but it's still a huge setback for him. Pep confirmed it the next day. He's not ready for tomorrow. No timeline, no reassurance, just that quiet, worrying uncertainty that makes fans panic. Because this wasn't about one injury anymore, it was a pattern. Guardiola even admitted it himself. Rodri can't play 3 games a week, like any other player. Now Pep did add that he said Rodri's body simply can't handle the workload. And for a guy who used to play every single minute of every competition, that's a really scary thought for us City fans. And here's what people forget sometimes. Rodri has been carrying Man City for years. From 2021 to 2024, he played more minutes than almost any outfield player in world football. You know, in League Cups, Europe, international duty, the guy never stopped. Realistically, he didn't stop. And it's not just physical minutes, it's a mental load, I suppose, as well. Playing in Pep Guardiola's midfield isn't like playing at Bowes or like, you know, Swindon Town. You're constantly making decisions under Pep, constantly adjusting angles, distances, pressures. One wrong move and the entire structure collapses. That kind of strain does build up. You don't see it until it's too late either. So when Pep says Rodri's body can't handle the same schedule anymore, it's not criticism, it's just simple biology. Like, he is 29 now, he's been running City's midfield non-stop for nearly half a decade. The body starts to rebel. And this is where the fall narrative begins to creep in, because fans see a player go down twice in a year and they start to wonder, is his time up? Is he done? Is it time to move elsewhere? But here's why that's absolutely nonsense to me. Rodri's game has never been built on his peak athleticism. He's not sprinting past defenders or relying on an explosive pace. His game is intelligence, positioning, anticipation. And those things don't really fade as much as the others I've listed. If anything, experience only sharpens them. Think about, I don't know, Sergio Busquets. He's a perfect example in his 30s. He wasn't quick, but he was everywhere because he knew where the ball would go before anyone else did. And Rodri, thankfully, is cut from the same cloth, I reckon. Even if he loses, like, I don't know, 10% of his physical sharpness, he can still dominate games with his brain. He's too smart, too aware, and just simply too good, I suppose. The idea of Rodri's fall comes from people who think dominance is always physical. But true dominance, true greatness, it's cerebral. And Rodri's brain might be the most valuable asset in world football. And with that being said, City are evolving, and Rodri will have to evolve with them. This season, you can already see Guardiola experimenting. More transitions, more speed in midfield, less slow build-up. Players like Matheus Nunes, Nico O'Reilly, Rico Lewis are all being used to inject energy, to cover ground Rodri used to do alone. It's not about replacing him, it's about protecting him with fame, letting him pick his moments, manage his minutes. Pep's smart enough to know you don't just move on from Rodri. You build up around his longevity. The same way he phased Fernandinho into a mentoring role while still keeping him vital to the team. Rodri can do that. He can adapt, sit deeper, dictate from range, manage tempo out of sprinting everywhere. He's just that good. But beyond tactics and science, this whole saga is deeply human. When Rodri got injured last year, he admitted he struggled mentally. He said it was his first time in his career he felt truly helpless, sitting on the sidelines, watching his team struggle, unable to do anything about it. He's a perfectionist. Simple as. A player who thrives on control. And for someone like that, losing control of your own body, torture. It literally is torture. Yet he handled it with class. No drama, no social media rants, just quiet resilience. That's the kind of mentality that makes great players come back even stronger. You don't become the best midfielder in the world by accident. You do it through obsession, discipline, and self-awareness. And that's exactly what will get Rodri through this period. Alright, let's be really honest for a minute. If Rodri really had fallen off, Man City would have felt it in results. But even with limited appearances this season, his impact when he's played has still been enormous. You can literally see the difference. With Rodri, it's calm, methodical, ruthless, and without him it's a bit frantic, a bit panicky, you know, a little bit rushed. It's night and day. That's why Pep's being careful. And he knows there's no actual true replacement. No backup in world football can replicate what Rodri does. Sure, you can sign players with similar attributes. You can plug the gap for a few games. But that sense of balance, that feeling of safety when he's on the pitch, very unique. So this moment right now, this stretch of time where he's injured and recovering again, this isn't the fall. It's the pause before the next act, I like to think of it. The key now is managing the comeback right. You don't rush ACL recoveries, and you don't gamble on these hamstring injuries either. The plan has to be patience. Pep knows this, the medical staff knows this, and Rodri, being who he is, definitely knows this. He'll come back when he's ready, not when the fans are impatient or the media are demanding answers. And when he does, you can bet he's going to make a statement. That's just who he is. Every time someone's doubted him, he responded. People have said he wasn't mobile enough. He became the best ball winner in the fucking Premier League. And then people said he couldn't score. He started scoring crucial goals in finals. Now they're saying his body can't keep up, and I guarantee you, he'll find a way. Because Rodri just doesn't play just football. He solves football. So the question is, what is next for Rodri? For now, still recovering from that muscular setback. He's missed Spain duty and a couple of Prem fixtures, and Guardiola has already said that there's no return date yet. But look, the club's priority is crystal clear. Protect the long term. Simple. Rodri's under contract until 2027, and he's still one of the cornerstones of this City dynasty. Like, I, as a City fan, the way I think about it is I'd expect the next few months to be all about like gradual reintroduction, cameo appearances, minutes off the bench, and rebuilding confidence. And then maybe, if we're lucky, by early 2026, if all goes right, he'll be fully integrated again. And when that happens, when Rodri finally steps back into that midfield and starts dictating play again, you'll see why everyone says City just aren't the same without him. Even if Rodri never reaches 100% of his old physical levels again, his legacy is already untouchable. He's won everything. He's been the anchor in one of the greatest club sides of all time. He's played the hardest position in football better than anyone else in the world for years. But more importantly, he's changed the way people think about defensive midfielders. Made this sort of calmness cool again. He's proven that intelligence, patience and timing can be as devastating as pace and flair. And that's why I believe that the word fall just doesn't apply here. Because you can't fall when your foundation is built on understanding the game. And especially understanding the game better than anyone else. So yeah, maybe Rodri's body is starting to show somewhere. Maybe he's not the Iron Man he once was. But this is not the fall of Rodri. This is just a moment before he reinvents himself. Football changes. Players evolve. We've seen that over the last, I don't know, since the start of the game. And if there's one player who can adapt and who can outthink the game itself, it is Rodri. Manchester City will protect him, Pep will manage him, and soon when he's coming back out there commanding that midfield like nothing ever happened, we'll all be reminded that greatness just doesn't vanish. It just sort of pauses. No, in my opinion, this cannot be the fall of Rodri. Because legends don't fall, they endure, they rest, they recover, and then they rise again. So yeah, that's what I thought of the whole situation. I've seen it floating around online on Twitter, and I said, not a chance am I having this. I'm not letting this slide. Anyways guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe. Goodbye. Also, we got a new background. I saw a comment about maybe 2 months ago, and they were saying that, oh, you need to get a better background and all this. Then there's not much I can do when I have a massive window behind me. So, we decided to go with one of these. Maybe I'll show you another video while it's on it. You can kind of see it. Yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.